You gotta say it.
By the power of Grayskull, I have the power.
Yeah. I'm continuing my trip through Indianapolis, Indiana, and today I am checking out Grayskull Collectibles. That's right, my friends, I can't not go to a toy store that's themed after Castle Grayskull. I mean, come on, of course I had to stop here. This is another store that was recommended to me by some local friends, and I'm really glad that I came to check this place out. Upon walking in the store, not only am I greeted with this amazing mural of Castle Grayskull painted on the wall, but the first thing that really stands out to me about this place is the organization. This is a store that is completely stuffed with amazing vintage toys, and everything is so meticulously organized in here. I can't wait to start looking through all of this. You know, all this toy hunting sure does make me hungry. It's a good thing that the sponsor of today's video is HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Looking for an easy way to eat well and save money this year? We'll cut back on expensive takeout and delivery and get started with HelloFresh. You'll love how fast, easy, and affordable it is to whip up a restaurant-quality meal right in your own kitchen. I've been trying this myself and I've been having a lot of fun with it. All of the ingredients arrive pre-portioned out, so you know what everything is, you have the exact amount of everything you need, and there's an easy to follow recipe sheet that will guide you through the entire process. I decided to try a few things out, like the caramelized onion meatloaf sandwiches. I love me some meatloaf and potatoes, it's totally my thing. This sandwich turned out awesome. It was so much fun to make it, and it was delicious. But if that's not your thing, there are healthier options as well, because I also decided to try the balsamic tomato and herb chicken with buttery garlic spaghetti, and let me tell you, I did it. It was easy, and it was good. To try HelloFresh, just click on the link in this video's description to get yourself a special discount plus free shipping. And thank you once again to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. So I'm looking at that Castle Grayskull mural, and high up above that, there's a shelf with a whole row of original Castle Grayskull playsets. And this really stands out to me because, of course, I've already got a Castle Grayskull in my collection, but what I love about this is that seeing all of these castles side by side really shows you how different the paint deco can be from one Grayskull to another. The reason for this is because that airbrushing, the black airbrushing that is on those vintage Castle Grayskulls, was all done by hand, meaning that no two Castle Grayskulls are really going to be alike. And there's going to be instances where you see a lot more of that overspray than others. Some of my favorites that really stand out in this little display here are the ones that are really dark in color, like they just got extra of that black overspray. It's really cool seeing them like that, and it's always one of those things where I'm like, oh man, it'd be kind of cool to collect different variations of Grayskull that just have drastic looks, but I don't have room for that, do I? Now, this place is called Grayskull Collectibles, so of course there is a massive display of Masters of the Universe action figures here. And it's really cool because it ranges from all the different versions. I'm seeing lots of vehicles, I'm seeing lots of packaged figures. It's ranging from all the way back in 1982 through the 2002 series, and even the current stuff like Masters of the Universe Origins. There's a lot to look at here for Masters. Oh, I love this Extendar. That's great. This is the Masters of the Universe Classics version of Extendar, where he had interchangeable parts to make him extend, and what they did here is they basically just added a whole bunch of extra parts to him to make him really, really extended. It's hilarious. Where's a T? Ugh, I love Fuerza T. So, if you are not familiar with what these are, it's real easy to look at these and go, bootlegs. But there's more to it than that. These were distributed by Top Toys in Argentina in the early 2000s. You see, back in the original toy line run in the 80s, Top Toys had the official license to distribute Masters of the Universe in Argentina. Well, in the early 2000s, they decided they were just gonna use those molds again, but to mishmash the parts and create their own characters. That's where the Fuerza T line comes from, which roughly translates to T-Force. And we've got all kinds of wacky new characters that Top Toys created, all using vintage Masters of the Universe parts. I have a few of these guys in my collection at home, but I'm seeing Pantano here. He is one that I don't have, and I am interested in him, but the prices on these have gone up quite a bit over the years, so while this is a figure that I'd love to add to my collection, I'm not sure if today is the day for that. Speaking of, look at all these amazing Masters of the Universe bootlegs from Argentina. Now, these are actually a more recent find, and you might have seen me show some of these in some of my other toy hunts recently, because these things have shown up everywhere. Apparently, these are from a massive warehouse find, so these wacky bootlegs are kind of all over the place right now. They are still really fun to see, though. And man, look at all of these amazing bootleg figures. So fun. Of course, the store does have an Eternia playset as well on display. Just looking at it, it looks like, I can't tell if it's all the way complete, but it does look mostly complete. I'm seeing a lot of hard to find parts on there, like the little griffin standing in the front. It's got all of the monorail hooks hanging off of it all the way around. Really nice looking display, and I do believe they have the tracks as well. They just don't have the tracks displayed because, man, those things are so fragile. All right, let's get away from the Masters of the Universe for a little bit because there's so much else to look at in here. And there's this amazing glass case in the front of the store that really drew my eye. It's got a mixture of some really cool vintage stuff in there, like Manglore Mountain. Really cool playset from the Manglore's toy line. Actually, my favorite personal thing from that line. But just next to Manglore Mountain is an amazing selection of Dungeons and Dragons figures.
In the eerie world of deep, dark dungeons, mystery and magic seem real. There's good against evil with advanced Dungeons and Dragons action figures. War Duke, Kellic, Strongheart, and Bronze Dragon, each sold separately.
Beware, Strongheart. We will cast an evil spell and steal the treasure. Well, evil is no match for good. The treasure is safe.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons action figures, Kellic, War Duke, Bronze Dragon, Strongheart, each sold separately from LJN.
Oh man, I have really been into looking at these lately. Now I have a small collection of the LJN D&D figures at home. I've always loved them. More recently, I've started noticing them a lot more, especially the Fortress of Fangs. Oh, this is a playset that I love. I have always thought it was cool looking, have always been curious about adding it to my collection. The one on display here is one of the best looking ones I've ever seen. It appears to be complete, or at least near complete. Most of the time when I find this thing, it's just the husk with no accessories. So this thing is all decked out. It looks complete. It is amazing. Of course, it is a bit of a pricey playset these days, and it's huge. It's another really, really big playset. So even if I did end up getting this, I have no idea where I would display it. But man, is it cool. Oh, Boxed Exo Squad. That's pretty cool. This is one of those lines that I like. I never owned any of them. I don't run into it very often, so I always like to take a look at these when I see them. Oh, my friends, and then that brings us to the baggy wall. This entire wall right here is filled with some amazing vintage action figures.
Daddy?
Yes? Oh, wait, hang on a second. My youngest appears to need my attention for something. Say?
Wrestling figures?
You want wrestling figures? Show me.
Daddy.
okay, I guess Ryder wants some wrestling figures. So I'm going to move away from the baggy wall real quick. I'm going to take a look at these old LJN wrestlers with him. He's really been into wrestling figures lately. He's got a whole bunch of my wrestling figures that he plays with all the time. So I think it's awesome that he found these in the store and instantly was drawn to them. LJN wrestling figures, huh? This is what this is what you want? You can pick 2 of those.
This.
Yep, you can pick 2 wrestlers. Which 2 wrestlers do you want? Pick, look at them real good. Pick the ones you want.
This guy.
Big John Studd. Somebody painted Greg the Hammer Valentine to look like the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, that's funny.
What, buddy? What you got? You're welcome. Who'd you pick? You picked Big John Studd and a Greg the Hammer Valentine that's painted to look like the Ultimate Warrior. Nice choices. My kid is adorable. I did offer to buy him some of those figures, but it turns out he just wanted to play with them for a little bit. So after he carried them around the store for a while, he put them down. We ended up not getting them, which is a bit of a bummer, but still, it's awesome. He's so awesome. Anyway, let's get back over to this baggy wall. I gotta tell you, this wall is a bit overwhelming. There is so much hanging here, I didn't even know where to look, so I just kind of dug through it a little bit just to see what I could find. Great selection of stuff in here too. I mean, I'm finding things from supernaturals to skeleton warriors, even to the real Ghostbusters. Oh, what about a Goomba from the original Super Mario Brothers movie? Yeah, honestly, kind of a cool figure. $30 is the price tag on this, and honestly, that's about what these have been going for recently. And I think this is an important time to say that while this is a wall filled with baggy toys, they definitely are priced accordingly because there's some really good stuff in here. So a lot of cool things to find, especially if you're looking for like a specific piece for your collection. This might be a good place to check for that. Like Infaceables? What? I don't run across these very often, and usually when I do, the faces, since they're made of this very soft like latex or plasticky material, it's like a rubber that deteriorates, but this one has its face, which is exactly why it has an $80 price tag. But wow, I don't see Infaceables too often. Oh man, I just found some Ronin Warriors in here. Now, if you recall, not that long ago when I was at Toy-Hio, I was mentioning that I was in the mood to track down some Ronin Warriors because I had some of these in the 90s. I found several mint on card ones at Toy-Hio, but most of them were upwards of $100 or more and just not something I wanted to pay for. Well, here are a few loose ones that are on this baggy wall, and they're ranging between $15 and $20 a piece, and they've got all of their armor, maybe not all of their accessories, but yeah, I'm pretty tempted to maybe pick some of these up. I always love seeing Godzilla stuff, and as I mentioned, Godzilla stuff is always very collectible, it seems, but one of the things that's here is the old Godzilla board game. That thing is awesome. I would love to maybe at least play that someday just to know, but that's cool. Oh, this Swamp Thing playset is excellent. Of course, going back to my love for Kenner and a lot of the stuff Kenner did, the Swamp Thing toy line is another one of those that really ranks high for me. It just really fits in with that whole like weirdo toy thing that is totally just a Pixel Dan line. Swamp Thing is awesome, and it did have a couple of really cool playsets, including this one, which is in really great shape, and not one that I run into like this, especially loose, so that you can see the whole thing. Really, really cool toy. Oh, hey, look! I'm back over at the Masters of the Universe toys. Who saw that coming? So this case right here has got all of the expensive dudes in it. These are some of the more obscure or just, I guess, more sought after figures these days. The Horde Trooper, the Dark Face variant of Grizzlor, several Scareglows in here, which, man, I can't believe just how expensive Scareglow has gotten over the years, and that's everywhere. Every time I see Scareglow, he's priced just like this. One without any accessories, no cape, no accessories, is running around $250, while the ones with capes and accessories, they're upwards of $400 and $500 at this point. Scareglow has been one of my favorite figures since I was a kid. In fact, he's one of the few that I kept from my childhood because I always loved him. And he is a great looking toy, so I get it. But man, it's crazy how he has shot up over the years. There's also some carded Remco stuff in here that's really catching my eye. Some of these figures are awesome, like carded Warlord and Hercules. So we're getting ready to wrap things up in here. There's a lot to look at, but I think I've decided on some purchases. And as we're heading to the front, Spencer finds something. Yeah, he's actually been asking for this particular Clayface figure for quite some time. I introduced him to Batman the Animated Series, thanks to it being on streaming, and he just loved Clayface. He has watched the Clayface episode over and over multiple times, and so when he found this in the store, he got legitimately hyped up, and I couldn't say no to that. So Spencer is getting that Clayface today, and we are going to go ahead and check out with our purchases. So here is my haul from Grayskull Collectibles. Of course, Spencer grabbed that awesome Batman the Animated Series Clayface action figure, which after I made sure to get some footage of it for this video, he promptly took and is playing with it regularly. So good purchase by Spencer. And as for me, the only thing I walked out of the store with today for myself were 2 of those Ronin Warriors action figures. I felt like a good move since this was something that I was actively seeking out. And so I went ahead and grabbed Kale, which is one of the ones I used to have, and Anubis, which is one I did not have, but I really liked the way he looked, and I wanted to grab a couple of them. So really good haul there. I'm glad to have these guys. They are fun. They're definitely bringing back some of those nostalgic memories. And honestly, it just makes me want to find more. There's a few more of these that I definitely want to get, so I'll have to keep hunting. There were a lot of things at Grayskull Collectibles that I really, really liked, and a lot of things that I probably could have bought if I wanted to, but not every toy hunt can be one where you are dropping big bucks. It's gonna happen eventually, right? But I want to give a very special shout out to the folks over at Grayskull Collectibles because really great conversations while we were in there walking around looking at everything. I also was able to bundle everything for a little bit of a discount, which is always nice when shops do stuff like this. If you're ever in the area, I would highly recommend checking this place out, especially if you are really big into vintage toy collecting. If there's like one piece that you're looking for, this store might be the place that has it. So definitely worth checking out. I will definitely be coming back here again the next time I'm in the area. Guys, thank you all so very much for watching this new episode of Toy Hunting with Pixel Dan. I appreciate all of you. I want to give a very special thanks to all of my supporters over on Patreon. Hey, if you guys are in a position to help out the channel, check out my Patreon. I offer early access for videos like this one. Plus, we have a Discord server so you can chat toys there as well. But regardless of how you choose to support this channel, even if it's just by watching these videos, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, my friends.